Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Eduard. It's a limited edition kit which comes in a 1/48 scale and it's named as a Wilder cat. It's written there, and obviously it is dedicated to FM2 in 1/48 scale. It should be based on recent Wildcat, so here we have a slightly advanced version. And of course, if you have some knowledge about this type of aircraft, feel free to write in the comment section. But this is the limited edition release, and it is something what was interesting for me to check, because here we have a lot of bonuses inside. We have also quite nice box art, and you can notice that the box size is typical for this brand, for 1/48 scale releases from this Eduard brand, and here you can see comparison with my hand. So first of all, let's take a look at the side, because here you'll find all of the marking options which are included into this kit. Then here on another side we have a small reminder that it was made in Czech Republic, and here on the opposite side you can see also some information about the kit. So it's written that it's premiere release, it's a first time you get the plastic of FM2. There are also plastic parts for one model, and we get P parts, we get also masks, and there are decals for 10 marking options. And I also can see that decals were created in cooperation with Twin Decals. Okay, no, it's actually written that the okay, so that's not the brand, this is actually the line of the decals from Eduard, and it's written that Twin Decal can be used to build two models in two marking options with the use of overtrees plastic. So again, here we have plastic only for one model. This is a top opening box, and here is what we have inside. And as you can see, the packaging is quite simple, somewhat similar to what we saw in the previous F4, F3 releases. And we are going to start with the top sprue. And you can hear by the sound that the parts are slightly broken off, and that's thanks to our postal service. And because overall the packaging here is really good, so there is nothing to complain about, but well, the post makes sure to check the overall durability of such packaging. So here you can see the clear parts. Overall, what we get here is really nice, and I don't think you'll have any issues whatsoever. And we have the masks included, so it's definitely just a matter of installing those parts on your aircraft and you'll be good to go. Okay, so next we continue with the gray plastic sprues. And by the way, if you wonder why there were missing parts, I will show them in the review article, so link will be in the video description below, so be sure to check it, because usually I post there even more detailed photos. Okay, so here we start with the gray plastic sprue. As you can see, this one is dedicated to fuselage halves, and both are molded together with the tail fin, but the cowling panels are separate. We also get the nice surface details, so if I zoom in here to one of the halves, it's the left part, but you can see that we have nice recessed panel lines and rivets, and of course the same can be found on the right fuselage half. Let's flip them over, and here you will not find a lot of stuff, only the guiding elements, and the cockpit should be assembled separately and installed inside. So this is, I would say, somewhat classic design for such element, and I don't think somebody will be surprised with that. Next we continue with the sprue K. So here we have the wing parts, and well, the wing parts look great. We have separate ailerons, but we have pre-molded flaps, so in case you would like to have the flaps in a dropped position, you'll have to get some aftermarket release. And note that you cannot fold the wings just like on the real aircraft. For the folded wings position, you have to buy the separate bracing set. We will review it separately a bit later. It should be available together with this plastic, but it will require some additional work as well. So here you can take a closer look at the external features. In my opinion, they look really great for a 1/48 scale aircraft. And if you flip it over, here you can see, well, we do not have any wing edges serving as a guiding elements. So some modelers actually like such design. Some modelers prefer to have the overlapping edges so that the connection between two halves will not be visible, but it's, well, here you will have to deal with such design. But overall, in my opinion, it looks quite nice. Okay, I'm opening one more plastic bag here, so just give me a moment. because here we have the last, let's say, portion of the gray plastic sprues. For example, this sprue P, and it is designed specifically for FM2. It's even written here that it's FM2 Wildcat. And we have the engine parts here, one-piece propeller, some cockpit parts, some parts for the missiles or the rockets, and also the cooling panels. So I guess we can zoom in so that you can see what we actually have here. So the engine itself, well, it's not as detailed as you would imagine it to be, because for the fully detailed engine with openable cooling, it's better to get the Brassin upgrade, which will be sold separately. And by the way, here you can also note the dashboard or instrument panel for the cockpit. Next, we continue with the cooling parts. So here you can see this frontal ring and also cooling panels. Everything looks quite nice. And here we continue with the parts for the external fuselage panels, and here you can see more of them, as well as the rear bulkhead for the cockpit. So overall we get quite nice features out of the box, but again, the engine and the cockpit can be upgraded with Brassin, which is sold separately. But it's a question whether you are ready to spend a bit more on some upgrades, so definitely think it over. Next, we continue with the sprue L. So here we get more of the cockpit parts. For example, this is the cockpit floor. Here you can see also some parts for the main wheel wells, which will be visible, so that's why we have a lot of things copied. And I would say this is the main feature of the Wildcat, so that's why it's impossible to skip this thing unless you want to have a half-baked kit. So here you can see some of the surface details, and of course it's a good idea to play with weathering a bit. By the way, the landing gear wheels can be upgraded again for the Brassin resin, or I think it's actually 3D printed. And here you can see some of the cockpit parts. So overall, it's the same level as on the previous sprues, and what is required from you is to get all of those elements together and avoid any unnecessary problems. Okay, next we continue with one more sprue. So this is the sprue M, and here we have the tail wings, we have the separate elevators, and also the fuel tanks. I can see some parts for the firewall, and also side consoles on the cockpit. So overall it looks really decent, and if we zoom in, here you can take a closer look at all of those elements. As far as I remember, a few tanks can be also purchased as 3D printed parts, so again, feel free to check the website and see if you would like to order everything together. But with these thin parts and small parts for the gun barrels, you have to be extra careful in order not to break or lose anything, because they are quite tiny, even though this is a 1/48 scale kit. Next, I open the plastic bag or Ziploc bag with the pre-cut masks. So if I zoom in, here you can see those masks. They are ready to be used for the canopy and also for the landing gear wheels. So really useful thing, which will give you a better or nice result without any extra work. And one more Ziploc bag brings you the PE parts. So pre-painted PE fret, as you can see. And here we have the cockpit parts as well as some external elements, so definitely a welcome thing in a 1/48 scale. And that's why I was saying that even out of the box, cockpit should look impressive, and well, only demanding modelers will need to get the Brassin upgrade. Now I'm opening the bigger plastic bag. So here we have the decals, and there are 2 decal sheets. And as you remember, Eduard written that we can use those decals for assembly of 2 models, but we get the plastic parts only for 1 in this kit, but you can get the over the trees for assembling the second model. I'll remind you that over trees, it's the additional plastic from Eduard, which is sold separately, and it does not include any decals or even the assembly manual, as far as I remember. So it's more of the plain set of the sprues which is used for the assembly of the next model. Okay, so here we have the decals, no segmentation, some decals for the cockpit, stencils here. Of course it is printed in Eduard, and if I zoom in here you can take a closer look at the printing quality. In my opinion, it looks as impressive as the previous releases from Eduard, but as I said, we have two decal sheets, so here is another one with even more stencils, and as you can see, printing quality is equally impressive, so it's just a matter of careful application of all of the symbols, and it will take some time, so you should be ready for such procedure. Next we continue with assembly manual, so here I will close lens this even more, maybe zoom out, and now you can see that this is a large color printed brochure, and here we start with the quite detailed history note in English language. And as you can see, we have even some photos of the real aircraft, so it might give you some ideas on what to copy. We have the parts map. Blue color means that those parts will not be used. And then assembly process starts with the cockpit. Note that straight away we will be given a choice whether we would like to use the P parts or decals, so definitely make your own choice on what you would like to see in the cockpit of your aircraft. Note that whole page is dedicated to the main wheel wells. Here we continue with the fuselage parts, and then all of the stuff which we worked upon is enclosed in the fuselage house. Next we continue with wings, engine, cowling, and again we install it onto the fuselage. Note that the main wing will be actually supported with these large struts, which is quite nice. It's a smart design, just like in the Hellcat from the same company. Next we continue with the landing gear legs. So again, a lot of interesting features here in order to preserve this special alignment of the legs. And here you can see the landing gear wheels installation. Also we have the masks application guide on the bottom. Here we have the canopy parts, and you are given a choice whether you would like to have the open or closed canopy. Next we have the bombs, missiles and rockets and fuel tanks, and there is also loadout scheme as far as you can see on the bottom. Here we start with the marking options, so August and November 1944. Typical camouflage for this aircraft. This one is quite unusual, I would say, at least in my opinion. This one is from spring summer 1944. This one is August 1944. These yellow stripes should look interesting on the finished model. Next we continue with autumn and spring 1944. Next we have this cloverleaf aircraft with April-May 1945 dated, and November 1944 for this aircraft. Next we have the aircraft from January 1945, August 1944, and one more page is dedicated to the stenciling position. We even get the page for the notes in case you would like to document your build. And here you can see all of the recommended accessories for the aircraft. So as you can see, they are coming as a bracing set, and we will review some of them, so stay tuned. As for today's kit, again, it's a limited edition, so if you would like to get one into your collection, you definitely should hurry because they get sold out quickly. And of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about such release. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.